This is Scams and Cons News with Jim Grinstead.
In today's news, new techniques help scammers target drivers around the country, and pet owners are being scammed into thinking their companions are in danger. But we begin with a bizarre story from the South China Morning Post. It reports that a 26-year-old Indonesian man learned his wife was actually a man, attempting to scam him out of money. They'd been married just 12 days. The two had been dating for more than a year, and they met on social media in 2023. When they met in person, the impersonator claimed to be a traditional Muslim and wore clothing that covered her entire face. The imposter said she didn't have any family, so they quickly scheduled a ceremony at the groom's home. He even brought 5 grams of gold as a dowry. Because they did not officially register their marriage certificate, the marriage was not official. The groom grew suspicious when the imposter refused to communicate with his family and continued to wear her veiled attire at home. Not surprisingly, the marriage was not consummated either. The groom said the imposter gave excuses ranging from her menstrual cycle to feeling unwell. The groom located her supposedly non-existent family. It was then he learned that his partner was not an orphan and her parents were both alive and well. He also learned that the imposter was actually a man who'd been cross-dressing since 2020. Police said the imposter resembled a woman, especially when wearing makeup, adding that his voice is high-pitched. The imposter confessed that his goal was to marry into the groom's family and steal their assets. Including the courtship, the groom was deceived for more than a year, lost his marriage, and his money. You don't know if you've won a Publishers Clearinghouse prize until they show up at your door. But a Lakeland, Florida woman didn't know that. She got a call from a person saying she had won $3 million, but had to pay taxes on the money, an amount that came to about $477,000. She borrowed against her savings and stock in the Publix grocery chain. Here's Sheriff Grady Judd.
So it was an elaborate scheme that worked because, once again, a very elderly lady, who's our victim, possibly with some early dementia issues, was totally scammed.
She tried to get more money from the Publix credit union. She was warned that it might be a scam. She said she wanted to buy a boat.
These guys told her they're going to question you when you start writing these big checks. Don't tell them you won the Publishers Clearinghouse because that is a surprise. Just tell them you're buying a boat.
Deputies were able to identify 2 people from the security video and made arrests.
Scammers are very good and very convincing at what they do. They don't call them con men for nothing.
The sheriff's department has been able to recover $40,000, and they hope they can get the rest.
Now, they worked hard their entire life for their money, and now they've got $477,000 worth of debt lodged against their retirement stock.
This is Scams and Cons News.
Hey there, I'm James, host of Dakota Spotlight. We're back with a new season, You Killed Chris, A Friend's Fight for Justice. It's a chilling throwback to 1968. A college freshman, Christine Rothschild, is murdered on campus during her morning walk. Join us as we dive into this unsolved case and follow a friend's relentless pursuit of the truth, all the way from the flower power era to today. Binge You Killed Chris on your favorite app or at dakotaspotlight.com.
Drivers across the country are being targeted in a variety of scams. In Kansas, drivers get text messages from Kansas Toll Services seeking personal information such as bank accounts and credit cards. They're told the information is needed to pay for outstanding tolls. The actual agency that handles tolls in Kansas is the Kansas Turnpike Authority. The text claims the user will be charged a late fee if the bill isn't settled immediately. And it's happening in North Carolina. WCNC talked with security researcher Truman Kane.
In this particular attack, we're seeing an alert that's being sent from a local-looking area code letting the victim know that they have an outstanding balance on their toll account. They're also going to bundle up that data and sell it to the highest bidder.
It's the same scam in Colorado, but with a twist. In Colorado, they have express lanes with a toll that's simply billed to you. The lanes are convenient, so many drivers just hop onto them.
We've noticed an outstanding balance of $11.69 on your record. To prevent a late fee of $50, please visit sunpasstoll.com to settle your invoice.
The woman, named Mary, acknowledges that she used the toll road, but remembers paying for it. Fortunately, she didn't click the included link, but called the state office responsible for the tolls. They said she owed nothing. These phishing scams are also being reported in Maryland, Utah, and many other states. You may have heard of or even used the app Nextdoor. It's software designed to allow neighbors to communicate with one another. They may recommend plumbers, advise others about zoning changes, or missing pets. Pet owners receiving messages or getting phone calls saying their pets are in need of medical care and that money is urgently needed. In Palm Beach County, Florida, callers claim to be from the Animal Care and Control Office. Officials there say they will never ask for money over the phone. It's a common and growing scam around the country, and officials say the best thing to do is to check with police and not send money to anyone making such a claim. Those on Medicare should be aware of a scam that offers them free services, medical equipment, or gift cards in exchange for the target's Medicare number. The offers come by phone, text, or email. Once scammers have their number, they order products you don't need, like knee braces, but then they bill Medicare for the service. If in doubt, call your insurance provider for guidance. We've told you about check washing, the practice of chemically removing your handwriting from a check. The con artist then writes in any name or amount they want. It happened to an Alabama business, and it cost them $1.5 million. The company typically writes checks for $10,000 up to $100,000, then mails them to vendors. The vendors say they never receive their money. To stay safe, avoid public mail drops. Try to put your mail inside a physical post office. Also use security checks and a gel pen. Those can't be washed, so when the writing doesn't disappear, the scammers will probably put the check in the trash. The good news is that you won't lose any money. This is Scams and Cons News.
Scams and Cons is part of the Killer Podcast Network.
Hi, I'm Matt Harris. Seton Tucker and I host the podcast Impact of Influence, which for 2 years covered in depth Alec Murdaugh, who was eventually convicted in 2023 of murdering his wife Maggie and son Paul. That story continues to evolve, and we will cover that. Plus, we will tell you stories of other true crime events that have happened in the South. Please join us on Impact of Influence. And give us a follow on the Impact of Influence Facebook page.